Welcome back to All Things ETH. My name is Aaron, and on this channel we talk about all things Ethereum. We talk about projects, NFTs, play to earn, and price. And today, guys, I want to get back into Axie Infinity. I want to talk about why I bought 100,000 SLP. Pretty crazy, right? All right, so let's just take a couple steps back and give you the beginning of the story. I've been in the Axie Infinity marketplace, you know, in the NFT marketplace, in the SLP and RON and AXS marketplace. I've been loving the Katana decks. It's a fantastic place, not only to support the Axie Infinity and Sky Mavis ecosystem, but it's also a very great place to swap coins. And since I'm so invested in the Axie Infinity environment, do a lot of research, make a lot of content, obviously here, I feel very, very comfortable and have kind of found like almost a cheat code in my mind how to trade and just do a little bit of arbitrage, you know, some scalping or some swing trades within the Axie Infinity Katana decks. So I just want to walk you through this. So just about, I guess it was in early November, right, is when staking AXS was a thing, and then Katana was made, and you could stake your SLP, WETH, or wrapped ETH, not WETH, wrapped ETH, and then also you could stake AXS versus wrapped ETH. Well, back then the APRs weren't super high. They were okay, but not great. So, but early on, actually we didn't even know what the APRs were because RON wasn't out. So the RON token launched in, I believe it was late January, just right before February. And until then, we didn't really know what the APRs were. So because I'm not super excited to invest in something unless I know what the return is, I left most of my Axie Infinity assets in either ETH or to buy more Axies and grow my team, or I staked in the AXS staking dashboard. So I was making, you know, before December, it was up as high as 115% on AXS, and I was actually, you know, using my AXS rewards from that staking pool to buy more Axies at the time, and that's how I've been able to bring up my team of scholars and add to that team throughout the last 3-4 months. But then when RON launched in late January of 2022, I threw all of my resources. In fact, I moved another, I think another full ETH into the Axie Infinity ecosystem on the Ronin chain to take advantage of the high APRs. And back then, right between the end of February and February 3rd, there was a short period of time where SLP to wrapped ETH was at 400%. Wrapped ETH to AXS was at about 100%, and then the RON to AXS was at about 150%. And so I went super heavy into all three of those liquidity asset or liquidity mining pools, right? So I think I put most of my, I'd stacked a bunch of RON every single time from about November to early to mid-January. Every time I made SLP for my scholars, I wouldn't convert it into AXS. I would take it and I would put it into the SLP wrapped ETH pool. Not knowing what the APRs were, I just stacked a little bit of time. I have 10 scholars, not a huge, you know, some people have hundreds of scholars, right? But I have 10. And so I was just adding my SLP, the 50% that I took as my profit, into that pool, and I was stacking RON. Well, by the end of 3 months, or 2.5 months rather, between November and mid-January, when we found out what the APRs were, I just stacked about, I don't know, 25 RON was all I was able to take advantage of. And this was in the wrapped ETH to SLP pool. Well, when the APRs skyrocketed, or actually they didn't skyrocket so much as they were, you finally understood what they were based on the RON price. The RON price wasn't out because the RON price token wasn't available. So I was able to understand what the APRs were, and so I ended up taking all of my RON rewards out of the SLP ETH pool, throwing them into the RON ETH pool. In fact, I think I ended up transferring about half an ETH worth of ETH into RON, and sat on that and staked that for about a week and a half that we had at that 150% APR. And so didn't put anything extra into the SLP wrapped ETH pool, left my AXS for the most part in the AXS staking because it was still, at like 90% at the time. In fact, I think it even went up a little bit during that time because so many people moved their assets into the higher APR yielding pools. But so February 3rd is when the expiration was on this, and so there was far less given out to the pool in RON after that. So what did I do on the 3rd? Well, let's look at the charts, guys, because this is if you've seen the title of the video, you've seen the thumbnail, you know what's going to happen. But let me tell you why I did this. So I did the calculations, and I knew that the SLP ETH pool was still going to be at least 100% APRs. Now, it is by far the most risky. I knew going into it that it would be a scary transaction to put it into that pool, because what if, at that point on the 3rd of February, when the APRs changed, SLP was trading at 0.009, so less than a penny, right? And most people are pretty scared at that point. But Sky Mavis also had been putting out a lot of content as to what the changes were going to be coming up with Season 20 that have just happened, and had hinted at the April launch or even late March launch of Origins. And I knew with the cut in the adventure SLP rewards, and getting rid of the daily SLP rewards, and even cutting a little bit of the MMR PvP rewards, that SLP was going to have to move, and it was likely not going to move down. So let's look at the chart, guys. I have it pulled up for the day that I switched over. So, and not only that, so my indicators here, I'm using the price versus whale money flow and the trend exhaustion from Trade Confident, which really helps me to be confident about what I'm doing in the market, right, as far as trades go. Well, on this day, I sold all my RON. I sold a bunch of, or converted a bunch of ETH that I had left over from pooling so many, ETH one side, ETH, to SLP ETH, to AXS ETH, to RON tokens, that I had enough ETH left over, wrapped ETH, to pool quite a bit. And so I made a big decision. I said, okay, we know that the SLP adventure rewards are going away. We know that the SLP daily rewards are going away. The mint to burn ratio is going to get cut by 2/3. So instead of minting, 2 to 3 times more than what we're burning on a daily basis, I think that's going to regulate pretty well. Just doing the math, right? So if we're minting 150,000 or 150 million, I don't remember the exact calculation. I did this, before I made this trade, but 150, let's just say 150,000 were minted every single day, right? Well, I knew that the burn rate was 50,000, so it was about 1/3, right? So if we're getting rid of 2/3 of the SLP, I knew the price of SLP had to go up. And I did expect it to at least 1x. What I didn't think it was going to do was 4x in in a matter of a week. So as you can see, and as many of you know already, we went from under 1 cent to as high as 4 cents this morning. And one thing that I have to explain before I even move on is anytime you're pooling two resources together in these liquidity pools, right? So if the price of SLP goes up, the amount of ETH that you unstake when you bring liquidity out. So if you're gonna sell, like my plan was to buy 100,000 SLP. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of you. I bought 100,000 SLP and I matched that 100,000 at 1 cent with the equal amount of ETH. Well, as the price of SLP went up, I was going to take out less SLP but more ETH, while if I was going to unstake some of that pool. And that's just how the math works, because as the price of SLP goes up, I'm going to get less out. Does that make sense? So when if you buy 100,000 and it goes from at 1 cent and it goes to 2 cents, well, you're going to get half as many SLP out, because if ETH doesn't go up in price at all, right? So if ETH stays the same and SLP doubles, you're going to get half as many SLP left in your pool, and 50% more Ethereum, essentially, right? Well, Ethereum went up too, so it wasn't that easy of a math equation. But I ended up with less SLP at a higher price and more ETH at just a barely higher price than when I took out at the significant levels. Well, I told myself I'm going to take out about 100,000 or 10,000 ETH at each 10% or 1x. So I knew I bought in at 0.095 and I took out about 11K of SLP at 18 or 0.18, right? Or 1.8 cents. So 0.018 SLP. Well, I actually sold it, I think, closer to 2.2 cents, because that's how far it went up the first time. Well, it retraced to 18. I just held. I didn't buy more. I did think about it. If it would have gone down significantly, I might have bought more. But I knew we had a little bit of legs left, because I had it in the back of my mind since we're doing all these cuts. We have Origins coming out in April, and we have burning mechanisms coming out with Origins. This is a long-term play, guys. I'm thinking 5-6 months we'll be at 5 cents minimum is my hopium, if you will. I had no idea that we would go from under a cent to 4 cents. Now we're sitting at 3.5 cents, but we hit 4 cents this morning. I sold 11K at about 18 to 20 cents, or 2 cents rather, 2.0 cents. I sold another 11K when we hit 0.028, because that was another 10% up based on, if you did a double of from 0.095 to 0.0095 to 0.18 would be the first double. If you 0.027 would be the triple, right? The 3x. And then I believe it was 3.8 to 3.9. So 27 plus 9 is 36. So anything higher than 36 would have been another double up. So at 3.6 cents, I sold again. And I actually let it run all the way up to 3.8 before I sold, and was really happy to see it that high. So I've quadrupled my investment, or at least part of my investment, right? I sold 10% and 10% and 10% essentially, because I bought 100,000 now, because I'm making less or I'm taking less SLP out, as I explained before, and taking more ETH out when you unstake the liquidity, the ratios are off. And so I have about, I think I'm down to about 20,000 SLP in the pool, just based on the multiples that have happened. But I've actually made pretty good amount of money, so I think I've made about $750 just in cash. So each time I transferred the sold SLP into USDC, and instead of putting it into ETH, because I do expect, and today is proof, we had a little bit of a retracement on ETH, and I do expect us to come back down to possibly even 2,900, and at that point I'll be buying back in, trading my USDC for some ETH. Or the other possibility, guys, is this SLP pump will hit the brakes essentially, right? And we might even come back down underneath some of my buy zones, or my sell zones, which will become buy zones again. So if we get back to 1.8, I'm buying as all of that cash that I've stacked. I think I put some of it into AXS because we had a day a couple days ago where AXS was pretty low, so I bought a little bit of that with the cash that I had gotten. But about $750 sitting on the sidelines in USDC right now to buy any dips that might happen. And I'm either going to buy ETH or I'm going to buy SLP. And if SLP continues to rise, I'll just sell the rest. In fact, I was just intending to get to 0.048. So 4.8 cents would be a quadruple, or actually a quintuple up, essentially. It's a 5x from 0.0095 when I bought the initial 100,000. And at that point, I'd probably have less than 10,000 SLP, but my Ethereum gain would make up for that in the cash, and I would then take all of that and put it back into ETH, or just see if it crashed back down and rebuy again. But something that I wanted to talk about, I was watching Gugas, one of the great YouTube content producers for the Axie Infinity metaverse, and he was surprised that this happened. But in all my trading, and I'm more of a trader, I don't know how much Gugas trades, but I would say I'm more of a trader and more of a TA guy, and understanding a little bit more maybe of the market ups and downs that are happening. I follow ETH like really, really closely, right? And I did, since we saw ETH take a little bit of a rebound, and it wasn't that long ago. I mean, on February 3rd, we're dipping back down to 2650-ish here on the ETH chart. We had hit the bottom of the trend exhaustion, and whale money was flowing out. Well, on the 3rd and into the 4th, we were starting to see an uptick here, and I knew that this was probably going to be heading back. We had made higher highs 4 times at that point, or higher lows even at that point. We made higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, higher low, higher low, higher low. And since we started turning around is when I made that large purchase of SLP, and I'd never bought 100,000 of anything before in my life, so that was really fun. A little risky, but very much fun. Now, risky trade, yes, could have backfired, absolutely. But knowing that things were moving forward with Axie Infinity, moving forward with Origins, getting rid of the amount that we've been minting in that ecosystem, I just knew that we would have a pump, and I was ready to sell, quite quickly, and I had no idea it was going to go up as much as it did, and so quickly. And I do think it's possible it could crash back down pretty quickly as well. This could be some whale-driven stuff. We'll see what happens, but the whole market has gone up. AXS, RON, ETH, Bitcoin, many other altcoins have gone up as well. So I knew everything was heading in the right direction, and thankfully SLP has given me the chance to really stack a lot of ETH and cash on the side for whatever happens next. So one of the things that Gugas was saying was that he didn't know why this was happening, and I don't understand that, because knowing that the SLP to wrapped ETH pool was the highest, yielding pool in the farms, I knew that would be a factor of who was going to be staking RON in the ETH to SLP pool. Like I did, I've stacked over 5 RON a day during the this last run up at 100%. Daily APRs on that pool. I've stacked 5 RON a day, guys, which has been fantastic, and I've just thrown that into the RON to wrapped ETH pool. But one of the biggest things I've learned over the last 2 years as a trader is to buy the rumor and sell the news, right? When everybody's fearful, when everybody's worried about the price of something, and you see some catalyst coming up, and you start seeing a little momentum from the catalyst, you want to buy as soon as possible. And this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but this is my experience over the last couple of years, is when you have news coming out, you buy the news, right? You buy the rumor, and they say buy the rumor and sell the news, which doesn't really explain it very well, because you're actually buying the rumor, you're buying the news, and then you're selling on the catalyst. So I was selling even before the launch of Season 20. The launch of Season 20 was yesterday, right? Well, I sold twice before that. I knew I would sell at 10% at 1x and 2x and 3x and 4x, and it will sell again at 5x. But I didn't expect it to happen that quickly. I did expect us to jump 2x, honestly, before Season 20 launch, because I just saw the writing on the wall. But buy the rumor, buy some of the news, and sell as soon as the catalyst comes. This is the same thing that happened when Coinbase did their IPO. They went public on the New York Stock Exchange. The Bitcoin and Ethereum run up before that was insane, and then as soon as it was listed, we had a retracement. Same thing that happened with the futures ETF for Bitcoin. When the rumor happened, when the news reported it, it was going up, and then the day that it launched is when we saw a pretty good fall from near all-time highs. So just a little advice, as just giving you what my experience has been. I feel very blessed to have this happen with SLP in particular, to be able to stack. Obviously I wish I would have invested more, but that is the risk I was willing to take, right? Don't risk anything you're not willing to lose, and I was willing to see SLP go down even further if I had to, but we didn't, and I am super grateful. So if you have any questions on how I decided to do this, if you are confused about anything I talked about in the video, please put some questions in the comments, guys. I'd be happy to interact with you there. I do have an Axie Infinity Discord. It's linked in the description below. Please join us there. I do talk about trading there occasionally. Some of my scholars are interested in trading. Some of my future scholars are interested in trading, and we do have some traders in this Discord. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. I post there as well. If you like coffee and crypto, guys, go to friedrichscoffee.com. Pick yourself up a 12-ounce bag of roasted to order coffee. If you live in the continental United States, if you live outside the continental United States, this won't work for you. But if you do live in the continental United States, we ship to anywhere in the 48 states. And if you use code FREESHIPUSA at checkout, you get $5 off, which covers the cost of shipping on 12-ounce bags. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I find that if you're patient in this crypto world, you can make significant gains, and this is just one of those stories. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and God bless.